What is going on, crypto peeps? Welcome back to the Traveling Crypto. We did hit a market cap of 230 bill. Woo! I don't know if that's something to celebrate, to be honest. If you asked me a few months ago, that would seem ridiculous, but you know, sure, I'll take it. Why not? But more importantly, I wanted to discuss a phenomenon that we have in the crypto market that isn't available to us in the stock market. And that is the fact that we trade most other coins with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is a tradable asset. So there is no parallel for this, but that would be as if there is a stock that dictates the entire market and you also trade using that stock in order to buy other stocks. Now, obviously this poses as a disadvantage at times, but I'll tell you why, especially in a bear market, that poses an advantage for us is because when Bitcoin stagnates, that's when the price of these other alts in Bitcoin, in the Bitcoin pairing, has a chance to rally significantly. So if you look at Nano, you know, we had almost 60% gains over the weekend. Sub, 40-something% gains. ICX, 40-something% gains. WAN, again, in the 40s. VeChain was in the teens. Yeah, almost 17% gains. If you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description, by the way. Those are sent on the Discord. So what do those gains represent? Well, those gains represent the fact that we're buying Bitcoin cheaply, right? Because these alts are gaining value in comparison to Bitcoin. We're not talking about USD here. We're talking about Bitcoin. So then when you sell, right, you're gaining more Bitcoin for cheap. Whether your end goal is to accumulate more Bitcoin or to accumulate more US dollars or whatever the currency in your country is, that is an amazing phenomenon, because then when the alts get tired of rallying, right, because there has to come to an exhaustion point at some point and it retraces, then Bitcoin has a chance to rally in fiat value. So you're selling your alts for more Bitcoin, alts then take a break, retrace, gives a chance for Bitcoin to rally, and now you have accumulated more cheap Bitcoin and you are in that Bitcoin rally. So it is an amazing phenomenon, and that is really why I don't trade in US dollar or in Tether. Now I do use you know, a fiat pegged currency such as Tether when I am on the sidelines, right? Like there are times when everything is bleeding. We've all been there, especially if you've been involved in crypto the last 2 months. There are times when everything is bleeding. Bitcoin, altcoins, everything is bleeding. And you do want to park your funds on the sidelines in order to wait it out for opportunities to reinvest. Well, yeah, then I'll use Tether or some sort of fiat-backed currency. But when I'm actively trading, I'm trading mostly in Bitcoin, and it is because of this phenomenon. All right, let us do a Bitcoin analysis real quick, because I know most of you are interested in that. So again, zooming out, you'll see that we're still in this descending triangle. There isn't any change or any indication that we are breaking out of this, and there can't be until we break out of it, right? So we keep retesting this resistance here, 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 and we'll probably retest it here. Now, the moment of truth will come when we are able to break out of this resistance, right? Hopefully we don't break to the downside. This is still our long-term support, which is somewhat good news. If this wasn't a descending triangle, it shows that we do have a verifiable and distinguishable point of support, but a descending triangle isn't a good pattern, especially one that is confirmed over the long term. I mean, we're talking about almost 8 months here. Either way, some good signs. You'll see this is the 50, the blue is the 50-day moving average, the white is the 100-day moving average, and it looks like we are about to cross, and we might have crossed actually if you zoom in real quick. Let's see if we can spot that. Yeah, it looks like we just crossed, the 50 just crossed over the 100, which is a good sign, but it's not the end all be all, right? And I'll point you just, you know, we don't have to go that far back, but you'll see here where the 50 and the 100 cross, and you might have thought, hey, you know, this is the point, that this is the turning point here. So it's not necessarily the turning point. You have to take all other indicators into account. The one thing that worries me is that this rally that we're seeing now, look at the volume. Let me just erase this support line of the triangle here. But this orange line on the volume, if you don't know what this is, this represents the 20-day moving average of the volume, right? So you could say that everything above that is above average and everything below that is below average, and that line probably represents some sort of mean. that is, that's pretty disheartening here. Like, you want to see these rallies accompanied by good volume, or else they won't stick, right? Volume is the number one indicator that you can look at in order to validate whether a certain trend is going to last or not. So if you look at even these rallies here where we touch the resistance point, you'll see great volume, above average, above average. Go back to any of these rallies, right? Above average volume. Same here. But recently, we don't see that. The volume is weak, which points me to believe that, we might see a decline, either hitting this resistance point here at around 7,500, or even before that. Let us look at the 4-hour time frame and see if we can glean something from this short-term perspective. You'll see that the 50 and the 100 period MAs crossed already, and the price had tested the 200 period MA and went above that, and now we are seeing a little bit of resistance just right above the 200 period MA. Now, the pattern itself is a bearish pattern, actually. This is a bear flag, right? So if you look at the overall pattern, you'll see this is obviously a very rough drawing, but you'll see that we are in this ascending wedge, or this bear flag, whatever you want to interpret it as. And this is a bearish pattern, right? So this is a bearish pattern within an overall larger bearish pattern. Now, one thing I want to take a look at here, and I'm going to take away some of these moving averages. One thing I want to take a look at is the volume profile. Now, if you don't know what the volume profile is, it's called VPVR in TradingView. Now, if you look at the volume profile, what this tells you is where 70% by default, it's the way it's tuned, it tells you where 70% of the volume lies, at which price point. And it's different than this because it gives you a horizontal picture of where most of the volume lies, and it gives you something called a point of control, right? Or which is tied to the longest volume candle that you see here. This is where most of the volume occurred for the time frame that you're looking at. Obviously, if the further back you go, or the more forward you go, then you'll see the volume profile adjust to what you are seeing on the screen. So if we look at the volume profile, you'll see that most of the volume occurs below 7,400, and this is on the 4-hour chart. So that can give you I guess, is not really a resistance point. It's a bit larger of a range, right? You can call it a supply zone. And a supply zone is where you see most of the selling volume happen. So we can take, something like a rectangle, and you can identify where a supply zone is. And there may be multiple supply zones, obviously, right? As there are different points of resistance and support, but you can roughly identify a supply zone being here. So, if Bitcoin continues to rally, and especially if we're in a bearish pattern like this, you can use the supply zone as a range of resistance. So in this case, I would say between 7,200 and 7,500, right around the resistance of the descending triangle, is where we expect to see a retracement, especially since we don't see great volume on the daily, and the fact that we're in this ascending wedge or this bear flag here, right? So just to summarize, the reason that I'm bearish on Bitcoin at the moment is because of these patterns and because of the volume, right? The volume, especially on the daily chart. So we could see a rally up to the resistance point, right? Like the price could rally up to 7,500. But until we break this with good volume, then there's no chance that we'll see a reversal, right? So I'm not saying that we won't see reversal. I'm just saying that we need market confirmation in order for us to call it a reversal, right? I'm not one of these traders that will make a wild proclamation that Bitcoin is going to be 50,000 by the end of the year. No, I mean, that's not, to be honest, a real trader would never say that. Okay. That's somebody that's either trying to make news, or he or she's not an experienced trader. It's a little bit of hopium. It's a little bit of shock value. But a real trader would not say that. A real trader would wait for market confirmation before declaring any sort of reversal, right? For us to get to 50,000, we need a major and drastic market reversal, both in terms of pattern, in terms of trend, in terms of volume, and we don't see that. So you can't call that yet. Same for the downside. Those that are saying, oh, Bitcoin's going to go to 2,000. No, we don't see that either. As a matter of fact, there is a strong line of support at around 5,800, right? And we haven't broken that in 8 months. So you can't say that either. Or you can say that, you just sound like an idiot. So anyway, that is it for this video. I hope you got something out of it. Sign up. The link is in the description for the trade alerts if you're interested in that. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Thumbs up. Comment if you want. Hit me up on the Discord. It's 100% free. Stay safe out there. Peace.